What's up, everybody? This week's in Guys Talking Sports, we're going to be delving into the March Madness, talking about the Final Four teams, talking about who was our favorites and who are our surprises, getting into a little bit of the NFL action, talking about the Raiders' move to Las Vegas, Sin City, and then we're going to finish out a little bit, talk about Colin Kaepernick's situation, if he's being blackballed or is he just not being picked because people think he's not that good. So this is what's going to be coming up on this week's Guys Talking Sports. All right, what's up, everybody? This is your boy, Smoothie, and welcome to your next weeks of Guys Talking Sports. I'm here with two distinguished criminals. I got my boy, Ace, and I got my boy, Al. So how about you guys say hello to everybody out there?
What's good, folks? How y'all doing? It's another Tuesday. We're about to talk this thing, we call sports.
Yo, did you just call me a criminal?
Yes.
All right, fine. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing out there?
Okay, now this week's of Guys Talking Sports is going to be delving into the wrapping up of the tourney. Now we're down to the Final Four teams. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to get into the Oakland Raiders, not so surprising move to the land of Sin City. And then we might wrap it up with a little bit talking about our boy Colin Kaepernick and if he's actually still out there by collusion, or is he not getting a job because no one thinks he can play. So without further ado, I want to get started. So, hey, guys, I want to ask you a question. How do you think the tournament has been? How do you feel about the Final Four teams now that we have one or two teams that are not normally in there? So let me get your guys' take on the March Madness and what are you expecting from the Final Four?
Okay, well, I'm for one is happy that I'm happy, not I's happy, but I'm happy that we have some unfamiliar faces that are in the Final Four. I'm kind of saddened that West Virginia is not one of those Final Four. I think right now, as far as Gonzaga is concerned, we gave Gonzaga the best run for their money. Took them down to the wire. Unfortunately, we just couldn't get it done. But I got to tip my hat to Gonzaga and everything that they've done. They've been truly deserving of a number one slot in the tournament. And I think they're destiny. I think this is their year. I think they're going to go ahead and get it done. Bruce Pearl, South Carolina, happy for them. North Carolina is the usual suspect, and for whatever reason, the fourth team is just drawing a blank. Please, somebody jump in, let me know. Can't think of the fourth team because, ironically, if the fourth team ain't
there, and Oregon.
Oregon, yes, Oregon. How can I forget about the Ducks? Yeah, they ain't making it, but yeah, I think it's Gonzaga's year. I think Gonzaga's going to go ahead and take it. Great run by them, put their tournament, put their conference on the map. They've always been representing for their conference, but I think this year they're gonna make everything and just go ahead and take it to the tournament and cut down those nets.
Yeah, no, I to be honest, I was saying this last week that to me this has been one of the most exciting March Madness it's been for me in a minute because it's been so unpredicted. Like some of the number one teams like losing, so many number two teams losing. It's kind of unprecedented. I do also agree. To be honest, I would love to see the winner of the South Carolina Gonzaga game go on to be national champion. As much as as much as I would like North Carolina, I could see North Carolina winning. I would rather see someone new winning the tournament for the first time. I don't think Oregon won a national title before. I'm not 100% sure. But I would love to see South Carolina and Gonzaga win. Gonzaga because they've always been in that mix but just never got to that point. And also South Carolina because they were truly the underdog in some of the games that they played against. So I would love to see just something different than what I'm most used to seeing. So not to take away North Carolina and Oregon as well, but I would love to see South Carolina or Gonzaga winning and win it all this
Yeah, I kind of agree. You know, my bracket, I only have North Carolina, you know, still in there. You know, West Virginia, you know, lost, and I was hoping it was going to beat Gonzaga. Thanks, Adrian. But actually, no, like I said, I agree. It's nice to see some new, fresh faces in there. You know, Oregon, we can realize they're more than a pretty football face. They actually can play some basketball when they want to. So Gonzaga, not much more of a Cinderella team at this particular point. I think they've been around the big dance a lot, but South Carolina surprised me, and it surprised like a lot of people that, you know, were more so casual fans. So it's been very exciting. I mean, you know, that North Carolina-Kentucky game, I caught the tail end of that, and I was just like, whoa, this is what, you know, the real basketball, you know, March Madness is about. It's, you know, those teams, those unsung players that come out and make those shots, you know. But I have to say that, you know, the Final Four has been very pleasing, you know. Most of the games that I've watched have been very competitive, except for a few that were kind of just blowouts. But everything's been down to the wire, and I think, you know, it's good not to see any one dominant team out there like there has been in the past. You know, of course, guys leave for the NBA after the freshman year, but I think there's just so much parity is making basketball a little more exciting. So, I would love to see Oregon and Gonzaga go at it, or better yet, give me Oregon and South Carolina. But since I'm in my March Madness pool, I need North Carolina to get up in the mix. But I'll be happy with whoever plays in that final.
I'll tell you one thing, though. I'm happy UCLA got bounced because I'm tired of hearing Lorenzo Ball and his son and all this crap. Let them shut up. Let them declare for the daggone draft. And let's see put up or shut up at this point.
He's not going to stop talking until after his boy gets, you know, drafted and get into the season. And then, you know, for right now, he's going to keep talking because he's already saying his boy should be number one, the number one pick.
And I'm tired of that. And I hope the first 5 or 10 squads go ahead and say, you know what, I'm tired of that crap too.
I'm going to reserve my right to talk any more about LeVar Ball after my rant last week. So I'm not going to say much about that. I'm UCLA lost, and you know, Lonzo Ball, he's a good player, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to be calm about what I said.
All right, Stephen A.
So do you guys say?
Yo, I'm sorry, but did you see First Take though? I'm sorry, I had to. I'm sorry, but did you see First Take though? Like my man, like who comes out like that? And so, I'm sorry. That whole thing was just hilarious. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not even gonna talk no more about him. I'm reserved the right to talk about him like this. I do not want to talk about him. And I'm just. It's enough about him. All right, go ahead. Continue.
We can talk about the Father of the Year at a later date.
But I will say this, not about ball, but I will say this. One of the things that I like about March Madness is because of, you know, being unexpected. Like you never know who's going to actually win. Even, and I hate to say this, but this is something that the women's tournament needs. Like they need somebody to beat Connecticut for it to be relevant.
Yes.
Although nobody's going to challenge Connecticut, UConn for the women's championship, they need somebody to beat them in order for the NCAA women's tournament to be relevant. Otherwise, you don't hear much about the women's tournament at all because everybody already assumes that it's Connecticut's to lose.
I as much as you guys have a bone to pick with Lorenzo Ball, I have much of a bone to pick with Gino for UConn because that is the most pompous, arrogant, cocky. Now his girls back it up. But how hard is it to back up your squad when you get, you know, the top blue chippers every year coming to your squad? I mean, if you can take a bum team and get that up into the tourney, then I have much more, you know, respect for them. But when you're getting the top recruits coming out of high school every year, and it's not like one or two, you got the line out the door, you got to beat people back. I mean, yeah, you got to get them to play, but it's, you know, you got the best. It's easy. And you got the best for 3 to 4 years. But I totally agree.
But I mean, if look at Baylor. Baylor's women's team, since Brittany Griner, is still putting out top quality basketball in the women's game. But it still comes down to when you play Connecticut, you got to play a fundamentally sound game. And if you're not playing fundamentally sound defensively and offensively, it just takes one or two people on that other side to sit there and have a not so quality game. And UConn can just take it to another level. It just seems like they're consistently nice every game. It's like I can't call it.
Well, I think it is to be honest. I mean, I agree with what Earl was saying about Gino, but it's the culture, it's the identity that UConn possess. The icing on the cake is that, like you said, top women recruit women. I mean, the top women go there. I would love to see them. I would love to see how they would play if there wasn't that many top recruits going to UConn. I would love to see how would fit, how that system would fit if you had maybe 2 or 3 star players going there instead of the 4 or 5 star players going. I would love to see if that would work. It's the UConn culture because you have top heavy people there, and it seems as though that until someone breaks that chain, it's always going to be the same thing where you're going to have top recruits wanting to go to UConn. It's unfortunate, but I would rather see it more well diverse.
Yeah, I think it right now the women's NCAA women's side lack a good rivalry. I mean, you think about maybe 10 years ago when you had Connecticut and Tennessee really tossing it up, and you even had Notre Dame in the mix.
Don't forget
Stanford in the mix. And even though Rutgers would lose to UConn, they made it messy. And the one thing that Gino's teams don't like, they don't like being someone getting physical with them, because once you get physical with them, you mess up that fluid timing. I don't see any girls team really get physical, get up in their face, push them around. Yeah, you might take a foul here or two, but for those finesse teams, those fundamental teams, the one thing that they can't stand is being knocked off their timing. And you gotta push them. You gotta hit the deck. You gotta make it ugly. You gotta make it real messy, and you gotta make them grind it out to win. And right now, over the last 3 years, I haven't seen them grind out a game, period. And I don't think there's anybody out there, currently that's going to be in that Final Four that can make them grind it out. But to be seen.
I mean, it can happen. I love to quote my man Hoosiers. With Gene Hackman and that mythical high school Indiana basketball squad. But it can happen. You just catch UConn in a really bad day where they had 2 or 3 of their players that just a hair second or 2 off of their game. Their timing is off. Anything can happen, But I agree with you, E. You know what I mean? You put a hand in their face, you body them a little bit, you show them a little bit of muscle, knock them off. Anything is possible. But until another team, until another coach sits there and emulates that, what you just talked about, into their game plan, ain't nothing gonna change.
Nope.
And that's what makes it unfortunate. I mean, because somebody has to do something where it like I said, like you really rarely hear, and it's bad enough that the women's tournament has been overshadowed by the men's tournament. But years past when those rivalries with Tennessee and UConn and Stanford and all that, you would hear those rivalries during the men's tournament. You barely hear that now. And it's unfortunate because that's what makes things, it makes it more interesting when you have those type of rivalries. And missing that is just, it doesn't do anything for them. It doesn't certainly help them. I mean, I know that they're looking for more sponsorships and more TV airtime, but how can they do that when you don't have a product out there that people want to see?
I agree, because I ain't watching it because I figure UConn's going to win anyway. So, but I'll look. But switching gears here, we're going to switch over to the NFL, and now the Oakland Raiders in another shiny 2 years are going to be right in the land of Sin City, which means I'm sure the Super Bowl is going to be sure to follow. So I want to get your guys' takes on what do you feel about Oakland leaving? What do you think about the 31-1, vote, which Miami surprisingly voted against them going to Las Vegas. So how do you guys feel about the Oakland Raiders eventual move to Las Vegas?
Can I first just say that are we planning a trip to Vegas for the opening game for the Raiders? I just thought I'd throw that out there. We can start planning now. We have a 2 to 3 year window before we can get our money right. But that's whether here nor there. But you got hockey moving there. Football is going to go there. I don't know if it's a different ball of wax when you have a team that's there all the time, and it's a business trip when you have teams coming into Vegas to play a game and then move on to the next destination versus an all-star game where the players ain't got nothing to do but just be fools and throw money up in the air and make it rain and cause a whole bunch of commotion and folks from all over the country to be there for the game. Because folks can't sit there and plan vacations for every time an NBA or NFL franchise is going to be in town, for every home game, to be supportive and act a fool every weekend that there's a game being played there. So I don't think there's going to be a negative repercussion as far as an actual franchise being in Vegas. Actually, I think that things will be a little bit more reserved because you're not going to have the time to sit there and, be making it rain or just having a grand old time like you typically would if it was off-season or all-star game or something like that. So I think it's a pretty good idea. And it's only a matter of time before baseball is going to sit there and say, well, NFL and NHL is there, and they're going to make their move. And then I think lastly, the NBA is going to turn around and say, well, look, everybody else is making money in this in Vegas. Why can't we?
Ooh. What do you think, Al?
Me personally, I could see this as being. I can understand why Miami doesn't want them to have a team. Could definitely see them. I could definitely see them. I really could definitely see them be progressing to becoming something better than something more than what it was. I'm more curious to see what the Oakland Raiders fans if they're going to stay loyal to that team or not. I completely doubt that they will, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah,
but I will say, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, but I will say this, like Adrian said, Las Vegas is definitely going to benefit from this. I wouldn't be. To be honest, I think they needed this because of the simple fact is they need some additional revenue coming in outside of what the casinos and stuff break in, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's dwindling with the amount of hotels and casinos there. Las Vegas needs some additional profits coming in, and I think that this is something that will probably be a boost for them because a lot more people will want to come and see the football team and come to Las Vegas, not just for the casinos, but to actually see a football game. And if it's done right, it could be a big boost, not just for their city, but for the team as well.
Right.
Yeah, I was kind of curious. I kind of figured eventually the move was going to happen, but I was trying to think the marketplace and the fan base because really Las Vegas is a resort city. You do have Las Vegas outlying towns, but it's not like a big metropolitan area where you got like people that can travel really far, far. You're out in the middle of the desert, so who's traveling that far unless you're coming from Reno or some of the other areas or even like lower ends of California. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. A Super Bowl is probably definitely going to be on the way if it's not already in the books right now. So, like you said, how do you police, players? I don't think it's going to be too bad because, like you said, they're only going to be there for 4 months, really. But a Super Bowl is a whole different animal. It's going to be like, the NBA All-Star Weekend. How do you police all that stuff going on? What may happen? How do you, the gambling, do we have refs getting affected by coming in there? However, what I heard is that the refs are, from an NFL perspective, are barred from going to Las Vegas just so they don't get in trouble with a casino and be forced to have to, call a game a certain way for some port shaving. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to be business. I mean, it's going to be a lot of jobs are going to be offered there. I mean, it's going to definitely bring some revenue to the city, and I'll be looking forward to it.
I mean, but think about it. Why would refs want to sit there and call a game a certain way? I mean, I understand the point shaving point of view, but I think personally, if you really don't want to have any biases, you can get your typical college football coach to be kind of geared for just college football official. You can train a certain crew to be prepared to referee the Super Bowl if you think there's going to be collusion from NFL referees. So I think there's ways around it. Plus, you got 4 or 5 years. You got at least 3 to 4 years before the team gets there. And then you probably got another 2 to 3 years on top of that before a Super Bowl will even be played there. So they got, let's just say, a minimum of 6 years to kind of get things figured out.
Yeah, we shall see. All right, so I want to switch gears while we have just coming down to the stretching of our talk. I want to get into another hot topic, which some do talk about. Colin Kaepernick has not found a home yet, while some other people, even the backup to Tampa Bay, got broke off. A backup to Jameis Winston got broke off. And Colin Kaepernick has still not yet found a home. So there's been some talk about collusion, being blackballed. So I want to know, what are you guys' thoughts about that situation? And the grim looks.
I'll deter the Al on this one to begin the conversation.
All right, real quick. I don't know what the situation. I mean, I really don't understand the situation in that regard. If that is the case of him being blackballed, that's an issue. That's a major issue. And if for him to, if it's for something that he was, all he did was kneel. And it's his right. And if it is because of the fact that he's being blackballed because of that and, the ramifications if somebody signs him, to be honest, I would love to see the rest of the NFL players that agree with him and also kneel with him speak out about it or speak against it, or at least talk to the owners. They need to do something in that regard. I would rather the owners come out or somebody come out and say, I didn't sign him because, to be honest, I thought that we went with a better person. Just be upfront about it. Like, I don't like it when, you don't say something. He definitely deserves to be in the league. It's not like he's garbage. He definitely deserves to be in the league. And hopefully somebody will sign him. That's how I feel about it.
Well, you had a coach like Jim Harbaugh, who recognized the type of player that Kaepernick was when he came in and drafted him, and was able to tailor a game around his strengths and utilize his strengths to push the 49ers to be the team that they were for that 2 or 3 year season that they had, that run that they had. Now, NFL coaches are really reluctant to try to tailor games around these quarterback strengths that are coming up in, through the college ranks. It's really going to take an NFL team to sit there and say, look, I want Colin to come in. I'm going to tailor my team around his strengths, get the personnel in to make my offense better to be around him. And once they do that, whatever team is bold enough to do it, because San Fran was bold enough to do that. Whatever team is bold enough to do that will be successful with Colin Kaepernick as quarterback.
Well, I agree with you both, guys. I have my thoughts on that as well, but I can share that at another time as we are about to run out of time. So before we go, Al, Ace, let everybody know where they can find you. We'll go with you, Al, first.
All right. You can find me, of course, at I am Al Quarles. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram as well. Also, don't forget to subscribe here as well. We really appreciate you guys checking us out. But again, I am Al Quarles for Twitter and Instagram.
And you can find me on Twitter at Adrian Cat1963. That's ADRIANCAT1963 on Twitter. Like Al said, we definitely look forward to the feedback. We look forward to any suggestions or ideas that you may have for the show. So just hit us up and let us know.
Yes, you can find me on the gram. You can find me on Snap. You can find me out there on Facebook, JEROSS7 @ and definitely, like I said, we're happy that everybody that's been subscribing, giving us the feedback, and all our new fans. So keep letting us know, keep giving us feedback, and until the next time, we'll say peace. Wait.
Before you do that, I'm sorry. Also, don't forget now, Guys Talking Sports is now on iTunes and on Google Podcasts. So we're now officially on iTunes Podcast, so check it out. Don't forget to subscribe to there as well. And also check out Google Podcasts. It should be up and running now. And you can also subscribe to that as well. Sorry, I had to put that plug in.
Very good plug indeed. And until next time, we out.